Onion farming in Kenya is slowly gaining popularity. This is as a result of its high returns and small operating capital. In today's show, we mainly focus on onion farming from beginning to the end. Also known as the bulb onion or common onion, onions are the most widely cultivated vegetables of the genus Allium species. Its close relatives include garlic, shallot, leek, chive, and Chinese onion. To learn more on onion farming and the available onion varieties, we speak with Noah Naisieli Kadima, the founder of Africa Farmers Club, also a horticulture farmer and expert.
So this part of Kenya, this is a place called Longoswa. Longoswa is in Kajiado County, where we are setting up a training and resource center, where actually these young people and also just farmers who have been farming but not getting it right will be coming here to get expert practical skills, which ties in very closely with our vision, which is to transform the image of an African farmer, but to empower them to get practical skills so that they can transform their farms into businesses. First of all, this particular part of the country does very well with horticulture. So what we did is we first started with onions. As you can see, we've just started harvesting the onions. We also have maize. We have like the traditional farmer. We have some maize as well. We have tomatoes. We have vegetables because of the season where we are. January, February is normally, the demand for green vegetables is very high. We have managu as well. And why this is a bit unique is because it is in a place where agriculture is not practiced so much. As you saw as you're coming in, very few of the locals are practicing agriculture. And so one of the things that we really want to do is also to integrate the local community, to show them there's more that they can do apart from just having the cows, the cattle. What we're trying to do is that we want to show them that the byproduct of their cows is manure that we are using in our farm. So that means that they can also use the same, yes.
Noah has been practicing onion farming for the last 10 years. He says he prefers farming horticultural crops because they take a short time to mature.
I started doing onions a while back. This is, I think, 7 years ago now. I started with saving costs. So by saving costs, I mean I went for the cheapest variety. Not really cheap in terms of production, but which is more affordable. And because I think 1 kilo of what that goes to close to an acre goes for around 4,600 shillings, as compared to the hybrid varieties that goes for around 23,000 shillings. And why did I do this? I was shy. I did not know whether to do it right. And this particular variety did very well. But the challenge is that it took a bit longer. It took a month longer on the farm. It also took, you could see like it had split heads, so which is not really marketable. And that's when I was introduced to the hybrid varieties. And the hybrid varieties that I've grown, I've grown Neptune F1, I've grown Dominator, which is actually part of this Dominator. I've done Red Coach, which I've seen that has worked very well as well. We are testing a new variety in the other part from Syngenta. It's a good variety, but we are yet to see how it comes out. So a variety that I've seen that is marketable, the market really wants, and it also does very well, is Red Coach, which is actually most of this here. And as you'll see as we have it, why it takes shorter on the farm. It has an average good size of a bulb, a round size, because most of the market wants round. It's not very big. You can let it be big, but what you do is reduce the spacing, but it's not very big. Yes.
The most preferred onion varieties grown in Kenya include Jamba F1, Islero, Red Creole, Red Passion, and Red Pinoy.
The information that farmers don't have is which variety grows well where. You know, it could be a variety that also grows very well here, but doesn't do well when it's raining. So these are the same attributes that personally I try to look for. We try to do it here, and that's what we're even training some of the students here, and also the farmers who are part of the Africa Farmers Club. Because when you know a certain variety, and its attributes, it gives you an edge, and you know, I will plant this. This is the nutritional recommendations that this particular variety requires. You will even know the spacing that you'll be able to grow the same onions. And why this is also important, because you're transforming your farm into a business. So you need to know what are you planting, so that when you go to the market to pitch before harvesting, you tell them, I'm growing this variety. And very interestingly, the market knows which is the best variety. You know, I remember some time back I was doing capsicum and tomatoes, and actually the buyer told me, we will buy from you this, but next time go and plant this. So knowing the variety is one of the most important parts of farming.
Prior to planting, soils should be plowed and disked sufficiently to eliminate debris and soil clods. As Naisieli reveals, it is very important at this stage to carry out soil testing to ensure that the soil you intend to plant in is fertile.
It starts with the soil. It does not matter the color of soil. What it matters is the nutritional value of the soil. It's basic like food. What is something can look very nice, but what is the nutritional value? So I always insist on farmers and tell them, please test your soil first. Once you test your soil, you will be able to know what are the crops that you would grow that would do well in that particular soil. There are sometimes, like in one of our farms in the main office, where we have black cotton soil and onions are doing very well. The same with this soil. I know most farmers do not know it's called loam. We normally refer to red soil, but it still does very well. So what you really do is that you make sure that if it is this kind of soil, what are the nutritional values? For example, onion requires a lot of nitrogen, especially when it is the leafy stages, the vegetative stages. Why? Is because that is where it feeds the most, and now it helps develop the bulbs better. Something else that the soil requires a lot of onion requires a lot of potassium, so that when it starts bulbing, it can be able to bulb almost naturally. Yes. So knowing your soil helps you know exactly what can I grow. When you're doing the land preparation, which is very important for onions, is make sure you use a lot of manure, farmyard manure. Farmyard manure helps in the soil condition. It acts like a soil conditioner. There's an argument of whether the farmyard manure is a nutrition best for the crops or for the soil. I take it as a soil conditioner, because it helps the soil not to stick with each other, stick together. And that's where there's also another argument, I think probably from the question he asked, whether onion does well in black cotton soil, clay soil, or loamy soil. You need soil that at least the bulbs can be able to form faster. Hence the reason, whether you're doing black cotton soil or you're doing in loamy soil or the so-called red soil, you mix the manure very well. When you mix the manure very well, the roots of the onions, they're very light, you know, they're very light. And so these roots are what feeds the onions. And you see, it feeds the onions. It will take the nitrogen to the leaves, but this is the most important part of the onion. You know, so make sure that the farm has been prepared well, the manure has been put very well. The best manure is cow manure or goat manure. Goat manure is best because it's a slow release, which is very good for the onions. And it also has high nitrogen content.
Onions can be grown on any fertile soil provided they are well drained. The optimum pH range is 6.0 to 6.8, although alkaline soils are also suitable.
Like, I'll pose a question. When is the best time to eat onions? All the time. So there's not a good season to plant onions. What you need to know is what are the prices that will be in different times of the year, because definitely there is demand. You know, when it is very dry, definitely onions if you don't have irrigation, onions might not do very well. And so if you're a farmer looking at an investment in terms of your farm, you look at the timing that the crop will be able to have higher margins. So that way you can either increase your land or even increase the number of onions that you're growing. But what we advise farmers is you can plant anything because the market wants, and that's how you also develop consistency in the market. If you're consistent and a buyer knows, anytime I call somebody, this farmer has onions, whether the prices are high or low. So that way you can be able to control even like your market very, very, very properly, yes. The other thing is onions being just like horticulture can be able to grow anywhere. Again, once you test your soil has your soil is almost like 70 to 80% of everything, because you'll find that a very good quantity of onions that we actually even consume here in Kenya is grown in Nyeri, where it's very cold. It is also grown in Mount Elgon, which is very cold as well. And we're also growing it here. We're growing it in Mombasa. So the varieties also, that brings us back to the varieties. There are varieties that would do well in colder areas. There are some varieties that would do well in hot areas.
Proper seed selection is recommended to minimize problems of splits and doubles. Over-fertilization and even watering and temperature fluctuations also influence bulb formation. Onion is normally propagated by seed or sets. The seed is normally sown in a nursery under a mulch cover.
To start doing onions, first of all, you need to prepare nurseries very well. The nurseries have to be at least, I can say 1 meter wide, and then probably 5 meters, something comfortable, depending on where you want to grow and the size of land that you want to grow. Something else that is important is to know exactly where you're going to plant your soil. So since nitrogen is a major requirement, what I personally do is that I plant kunde, I plant cowpeas in the same area where I'm going to plant the onions. Because onion seedlings, the nursery takes around 6 to 8 weeks, depending on where you've gone and how you're taking care of it. And so when the nursery takes around 6 to 8 weeks, depending on, there are some farmers who, depending on the areas, if it's very hot, it will take shorter time. And then again, as well as the variety. So when the nursery, as you're taking care of it, what you do before you put the seeds, mix the seed with apronster. It's a seed protector. It also helps prevent pythium, which now you see pythium when you see a nursery, the seedlings are dying, you definitely see there's a problem. The diseases that would affect the onion nursery probably would be not as many if you take care of the nurseries well. Make sure they're watered well. Make sure you've also spaced the seed very well, because onion seeds are very small. So you need to space out when you're doing the nurseries, because if you don't do that, then they will press on each other, and that will now, at least one that is pressed dies. There's also another trick. When you buy onion seeds, they're in a tin or a packet. Don't shake them. We normally have a thing as farmers that when you buy seeds, you normally shake to check whether the quantity is enough. Don't shake, because onion seeds tend to break. When they break, you lose that seed. Another importance is to know what quantity of seeds to grow in what area. I personally do 1.5 kilos to 2 kilos per acre, because I get a good variety, but I reduce the spacing. So there are two ways you can count the calendar of onions, whether you're counting from the first in the nursery or from transplanting. From the nursery, you take around 6 to 8 weeks. Then on the farm, it also depends on the variety. Most of it, what I grow is 2.5 to 3 months, 2.5 months to 3 months, and then you'll be ready to harvest your onions.